right, welcome to the April Target Imaging Challenge. This is galaxy fields, and I believe the rule that Chris had put out was 3 or more galaxies.
Okay.
So I have a handful of pictures I can show, and then we'll open it up. Everybody should be co-host. So um, let me see if I pick the right screen. And there. So I got a Dwarf 3 recently. We were chatting about it before starting the recording. So this is the first night when it finally worked. I had some focusing issues. And this was before the clouds started rolling in. So yay. Uh, 34 minutes. No, nothing special. I just put it on a tripod, threw it in my backyard. Well, placed it in my backyard. Didn't really level it other than kind of winging it, eyeballing it. And this is what came off of the dwarf itself. And then, of course, I took it into PixInsight and played around and was quite surprised at how much of a difference there was, pleasantly surprised. I mean, I was pretty happy with what I saw off the dwarf as well, but so that's, Boats and Cigar. I used, I think I set it up to image for about an hour after that on the Leo triplet. And I did not post the dwarf's version of the picture because there were faint clouds rolling through and it was a hot mess. I thought this is going to be unrecoverable, but um, was quite pleased putting it through PixInsight and cleaned up quite well compared to what it was at least. So I got the Leo triplet as well with the dwarf. The only other thing apparently I have is with the C8 native F10. I was going for the mirror galaxy, about 8.5 hours total. And the challenge for me on this one is I started stacking it about an hour and a half ago. And so I just did the quickest processing I think I've ever done preparing for this meeting. So I'll need to come back and play with it a little bit more. But yeah, there's a couple of galaxies throughout this field. Um, Had a lot of problems with this one. For some reason, my blue filter, like I just couldn't get the filter offsets with the filter wheel to work quite right for a while. Finally figured it out about the time that it was starting to, set behind trees at the beginning of the night. So it is what it is. So, all right, that's all I had. Anybody else have some stuff they'd like to share?
I've got a bunch of stuff if you want to see it.
Go for it, Steve.
Let's see here. I've been playing with I'm on Astrobin as well here. Okay, this is my Galaxy collection on Astrobin. This one was done last night, 2 nights ago now. This is NGC 2403 up in the northern sky. These are almost all with the S50 or with the S50, occasionally the S30. I'll try to be clear about that. It was 47, almost 48 minutes with the S50, all processed. And it's really not enough to get full detail on this, and I'm still figuring out the precise processing on it. But that's one of them. And then here is M87 region. This is a couple nights ago now, and there's lots of galaxies there. Actually, this is 2 hours and 3 minutes, I guess, with the S50 also, and that's kind of a nice area with lots and lots of galaxies. This is all from my driveway in Durham here. Oops, go back, sorry. Okay, this here's M100 also. I haven't quite figured out why I can't get the color to come out in these. I'm still working on that. This is 2 hours and almost 12 minutes of exposure of all these different galaxies that are here.
And Steve, is that also kind of dust that we're seeing, or is that?
Yeah. In fact, yes. I was wondering about that, but I played around with it some, and it's. I mean, I denoised it, and I did gradient extraction. I did a variety of things, and the dust seems to be there. I was noticing that, if you do at least 2 hours of exposure, I see on the S50, you do start seeing these dusty structures. If you do it for an hour or half an hour, you don't see this at all. So it really requires more than 2 hours to do it. You'll see that later on here okay, this is with the working on 135 in my old ZWO 71 that I did. This is a while ago now. This is probably 2 years ago, something like that. And that's got lots of the various galaxies and other things that are in this region. So that was that. And this is, I don't know how, I don't have the data on this one, so I don't remember how much this was. And with the ultimate filter and whatnot.
I love the with the field that you get. It's awesome.
Yeah. And then this is M60. This is also, this was the C star as well. And it's all these galaxies in this area here. So again, this is all C star stuff. This is M85 with the C star S30. That's a much wider field. Which are a lot of galaxies in there. If you have a really wide field, the S30 is the best choice for this. And then this is NGC 4580 Those interact.
The Siamese galaxy. Yeah.
And that's with the S50, I think. And this is an hour and 40 minutes. Yeah.
How cropped is that?
This is cropped.
How much, roughly?
Oh, gosh, maybe 50%, something like that.
Okay, because those are small. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
No, well, the tricks that I'm using in this are, yes, they are small. I center the galaxies in these fields, and they are pretty small. But then I use these various things that allow you to stretch the pictures in different ways. SETI Astro has one that allows you to increase the so-called super resolution. And there's one in the Topaz Photo AI allows you to do it to expand things there are various ways to expand these things that keep the structures the way that they are without adding a lot of stuff to them. And I've played around with that a lot. So what I would typically do is I would crop what I want to crop, and then I would stretch it to make it bigger. And if I played around with it enough, I would usually get a pretty good result. But there's a lot of photographic fiddling and software fiddling to get this. And I do look at other people's pictures to make sure that I'm not adding junk to it. That it's when I'm expanding it out that I'm really just getting something that's reasonable. It's because this is quite small in the frame when you look at it. And okay, this one is exactly like that. This is the whale box. And this was quite small in the picture with the S50, but you can expand it out. And I thought when I expanded this out, now this is crap. This is adding a lot of junk to it. But then I looked at a lot of other more professional pictures of this, and it does really have these weird structures in it.
Oh, really? Wow, that's
and so a lot of these
cool.
weird star forming regions and whatnot. So if you go and look at other people's pictures that aren't massively expanded like this one is, you'll find that it does have all these weird structures. It's a very strange galaxy.
What do you think the pixel by pixel is on it? It's what, just a couple hundred by a couple hundred?
That's a good question. I don't know, because I've expanded it out by a factor of 4.
Okay.
So this was in the, well, let's see, I'll try to explain this. Let's see if I can find, like here's a typical picture with this an S30, say. Okay. And what I would do is I would crop this just around the central galaxy here, and then I would expand it by a factor of 4. And then I would process it from there.
Okay.
with the focusing and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And so what you see here, it's a little bit bigger than this circle that's in the middle, is about the area that I would take out. So for the Whale Galaxy was like that.
Hmm.
And I played around with expanding it and to see if I would get anything reasonable. And like I said, compare it to other people's pictures to make sure I wasn't just adding junk,
Hmm.
our generative AI type junk. And it wasn't, as far as I could tell. So it's because these new pieces of software are pretty good at not adding stuff that isn't there. It
Hmm.
expands it and adds pixels in. It's quite an interesting thing to try to do to get something.
Would you do it all in the SETI Astro tool, or would you switch over to Topaz and do some?
I use them all, Jim. I try it with all of them to see which one gives the best result. Sometimes I use more than one. Oftentimes I would use the SETI Astro Super Resolution app in PixInsight first, and then I do that, and then I do Blur Exterminator after I do that.
Okay.
And then I will take it out into Photoshop and play with it there, and do the Topaz Photo AI or one of the other tools that I've got, various things like that. So yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, you can do a lot if you really want to do it. Of course, you can just do this kind of thing too and get the whole frame with the here in this case with the S30. Okay, this one is another one like that, NGC 3718 area. And this, I'm not happy with the color on this. I still haven't figured out how to get the right colors. Even with the photometric color calibration in PixInsight, I still haven't quite figured out the coloring on these things. But I was trying to get this funny S-shaped structure in here, and it came out. But this was like the previous picture. This bit right here was in the center of a much larger picture. And so I went in and expanded it a lot and played with these tools to see what I could get, and without losing this funny S-shaped structure that's in 3718. So, and again, I compared it with other people's pictures just to see what I should be getting. And the structures, the business on the outside here, with this filaments on the out and this haze on the outside.
It's not artifact.
That's
No.
not artifact. That's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So that was interesting.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing the Draco triplet, and those three galaxies span across a little over, what is it, 14 arc minutes. So it's
Yeah.
pretty small, but with my 90 millimeter,
Yeah.
and
And
yeah.
so here's the Needle Galaxy 4575. And this is with the Dwarf 3 now. Then the obvious one, Markarian chain with all the zillions of things there.
And billions is probably a good estimate.
Way more than 3.
Way more than 3.
Zillion things there. So yeah, that's always fun to do. That's with the Dwarf 3 also.
Steve, can I ask another question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
You have the Dwarf 3 you've had that's for a long time. That was one of the early ones, correct?
Yes.
And did you notice that I know they have that telephoto periscope lens system, and it can be difficult to get sharp stars in that, and the early ones may have had an issue. I'm wondering if you correct that.
The answer is yes, sometimes. It's not always. It's curious. I think it has something to do with how well I get it polar aligned. But I also use Blur Exterminator on these things. I find that Blur Exterminator does more for the dwarf than it does for the others. The sea stars are a little better than the dwarf stars.
Yes.
And so you really have to play around with Blur Exterminator on the dwarf's machines to get the stars to look right. Probably if I zoomed in on this carefully, you might see that stars are are not as good on the dwarf as they are on the sea stars.
Mhm.
So I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I ordered a Dwarf 3 on March 3rd, and they finally got a stock in, so I should be getting it somewhat.
No, it's a fun machine. It's a very much wider field,
Hmm.
and it's I thought it was easier to get it polar aligned, but now that I know what I'm doing with the sea stars, I think the sea stars are easier to get polar aligned. As long as as I said earlier, making sure I do the star focus before I do the polar alignment on any of these scopes. You have to do
Right.
at least an autofocus
Uh-huh.
before
Yeah.
you try to do the polar aligning.
Yeah, I plan to use their Stellar Studio, which is
Yeah,
amazing. Is just as good as the yeah, the version that you use with Pix Insight, and it's free, which is
yeah,
quite
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. I have not tried that yet. So,
Uh-huh.
but I sometimes stack the thing that the Sea Star gives or that the Dwarf gives, and sometimes I will take the original files and stack those instead, and
Hmm.
compare the two. And sometimes what I get straight out of the machine is just fine, and sometimes they get something much better when I stack the originals in PixInsight. So I depending on how much I like what I get out of the machine, I might just go into PixInsight. I process everything initially in PixInsight, no matter how I get it. Okay, so that's Markarian chain. All right, this is M81 and M82 and the IFN with the S50. Okay, and this was intentional. I wanted to try to get the IFN. This is 5 hours and 2 minutes. So, and obviously you have to do the equatorial mode with this.
Mhm.
And I still didn't quite get the colors in M81, but of that central area. But I'm told you can put a hydrogen alpha filter on the front of these things to try to get that kind of thing, and just don't use the internal filters. I haven't tried that yet, so I may try that. But I wanted to get the IFN, and then in fact, I did get that. But this really did need a lot of hours uh, to get something like that. All right, then this is C star S30 uh, area. Just that's one of the obvious things to try out first. And this was 2 hours and 40 minutes. And then this is not really just a single galaxy with the supernova. I think we showed this before. This was with the S50 as well, and this is 1 hour and 42 minutes for looking for that supernova that was there.
Mhm.
And then this was with the Z star S50. One of the first things I did when I got it. I think this was the area that you could get before they had the mosaic mode for that. And then this is another looking for the supernova, and they've shown this picture before. Lots of galaxies with the S50, 1 hour and 42 minutes roughly. Let's see, where am I at? Okay, and then this is with the S50 as well. It's 1 hour and 42 minutes. This is one of the obvious first things to try to do that. It's not, again, this is cropped. It's not nearly that big in the picture you get. You have to play with it. And then there's M81. This is with as well. But I'm just focusing on this particular thing. And this is 1 hour and 42 minutes on that. And this was the M87 with the S50 and to get the jet. There's that there on that one.
You have to process a lot to bring that out. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, I saw that it was there. I saw there was something odd there, and then I just went in and tried to process it, and it did come out. So
That's impressive. Yeah.
that was fun. And then M105 region. So lots of other galaxies. And then a sculptor, 1 hour and 42 minutes. It's one of the
That's very
first.
nice. I like the the bumps on it.
Yeah, yeah,
Bumpy.
it's similar to the whale. It's similar to the whale in that way.
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
All these funny bump structures in it. But star forming regions. If you read the articles about these things, there's lots of. If I could get hydrogen alpha, I'm sure I would see the star forming regions in this kind of thing.
Steve,
Uh,
did you add diffraction spikes in software or?
let's see. Yes, in fact, I did. I forgot I did that. Yeah, that was probably done with one of the SETI Astro tools. I think.
Okay, right, right.
I think I played around with that just to see what I could get. I'd forgotten. I don't usually do that, but I did it on this one. And then this is this was Jordan Lake. My God, when did I do this? Oh, this is when I Stellar View 102. This is years ago now. When I was first attempting these things with the Stellar View and the 071 camera. Okay, that is my last picture.
Awesome, Steve. Thank
That
you.
was great.
Thanks.
All right. Anybody else have some pictures they'd like to share?
Got one I can show.
All right, Jim.
There we go. Well, you guys are getting the dwarfs up and running. I'm moving to a big refractor. And so I moved from a 70 millimeter refractor to now a 140 millimeter refractor. And this is my second image with this telescope, trying to, as Steve said, go for the obvious targets, trying to learn it. And so my first time out, I was having a lot of trouble with focus. And so this second time, I figured out my issue was partly how I had attached my focuser to the telescope. But my focus got a lot better, which allowed me to get some really cool details.
And what filters?
So this is with red, green, and blue astronomic, and then 3.5 hours of HA, a 6 nanometer, and then a luminance filter.
Okay, very good. And you got those little galaxies too.
I see that too. Yeah.
I hit my 3 galaxies, but I found that in processing the galaxy and bringing out all the galaxy details, I really kind of destroyed the background, and so I went back and I redid it, just trying to get, because there's a lot of cool stuff behind it, and so I wanted to redo it. So let me take that out. So this is the whole image, mostly uncropped, cropped a little bit to get the artifacts out. But I did this with just RGB and HA. For some reason, when I was adding the 3.5 hours of luminance, it was not adding a whole lot and destroying some other things. So I've seen that if you add the luminance through the CIE lab versus the other way, versus LRGB, it may work out better. So I may go back and try that. I'm not sure why I was having that issue, but.
How many, enormous number of galaxies in there.
Yeah, so I use the SETI Astro tool. I can
Yeah.
do that on here. You guys, anyone isn't familiar with it. So he's got this what's in my image.
Yes.
Yeah. And so there's some cool stuff in here. Let's see. Load fast enough for me or not. And so I found, like, if I go over to this area, there's all these little faint little red guys.
Yeah.
And so let's see. So you do that, and then you say, go ahead, query Simbad. And then when you click on these, you can get red shifts on them.
Yeah.
And you can do the whole image, and it can give you everything that's in there. And so if we go to that area, it's here. And I found that when I had just the RGB and before I did noise reduction, they were actually a little bit better. So I was kind of just having a hard time getting the process to look as good as they did before I did any processing. You can see these little guys in here, and then Simbad found all those galaxies. And when I put the redshift calculator into these, I don't know if I was doing it wrong or not, but it was telling me 4.5 to 5 billion light years away.
I was just gonna say billions. Yes, Jim, that's amazing.
Way far away. And the light's been coming in 11 billion years.
Take us a little way to get there.
And the interesting thing is that you might think, oh, that's a photographic artifact, but
No.
they're actually not.
Yeah.
They're just, some sort of camera things, but they're actually something
Yeah.
there.
And it's nice to be able to look at Sinbad and go, no, those are real. Those are really there. Like, same with
Yeah.
these little guys. Over here is a little cluster
Yeah,
of galaxies.
that's cool.
Jim, how much total time do you have on this?
So with this, with this is just RGB and HA. So I got rid of the 3.5 hours of luminance, and it's just an hour each of RGB, and then 3.5 hours of HA. The advantage of going somewhere dark and doing this, it's about Boreal 4 up in Virginia where I've got my telescope.
And you said 140 millimeter?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So I took this other, I guess I can show you the collages if I gotta get that in a different workspace. The other thing that SETI Astros tool will do, you can ask it to make a collage, and so it says, here's a picture of all the individual galaxies in your image. Make it into one little JPEG. So I wanted to see everything that's in there. It's a little one there. So then, at first, when I first processed this one and I didn't get the background I ended up throwing everything away and starting over. But I said, all right, I'll put this up on Astrobin and see how it does. Well, it did fairly well on Astrobin and got a top pick nomination, a lot of likes. So then a couple of days ago, I stuck it up on Instagram and it's gotten shared around. So this one's currently making the internet rounds. High Point Scientific picked it up today. It got picked up by an Italian site. So it's currently traveling around. So I guess my new scope's going to work out okay.
Yeah. Jim, I just, without even hearing that aspect or piece of it, I was just thinking, this is just amazing. So not surprised to hear that other people all over the world literally would be saying, hey, this is something. Wow. I love those, both the redshift ones, but then even just here, the ones that are probably more in the,
those little guys here.
100 million
right.
light years.
Yeah, the nearby ones are just 100 million light years.
Yeah, right.
There's so many cool galaxies in the background, all these different shapes. It's so cool to spend around this part of the sky.
Shows the advantage of filters and a big scope and a dark sky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Some pretty deep.
Absolutely.
This little spot over here we can see, I don't know if that's part of M51 or if that's part of the dwarf galaxy, but there's this little bit of starburst occurring there, all that little aspect of it. The new scopes can be okay.
And Jim, these are on Astrobin?
Yeah.
Because I think I follow you.
Yeah.
If not, I'm gonna have to definitely follow you.
But I've gotten 2 images from the scope, and I put them both on Astrobin, and they're both top pick nominations. I'm like, well, now what? I can't. Everything's got to be good now. Set the bar high with the scope.
You did set the bar high.
Very nice.
Yeah, very, very nice. All right. Thanks, Jim. Anybody else?
I've got one I can share.
All right, Mark, love to see it.
All right. Let's see if I can see you to do this. Here. All right. Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is the Leo area. So working from bottom right to top left, that's M95.
Mm-hmm.
Then left of it's M96. Then up to the top left, the round one is M105. And then NGC 3384 next to it, and then 3389. So I shot this with my Genesis and my ASI 294. I shot about an hour and 10 minutes of it was March 22nd. And then I had some data that was almost exactly the same from 5 years ago, back in 2000 and 2020. And so I said, well, let me put it all together. And so I had to crop it down a lot just to get it all to fit. And the rotation of the camera wasn't right. But this is 1.6 hours from my front yard.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's mine.
That's cool.
That little
Thanks, Mark.
NGC galaxy deserves a Messier designation. It's as big as the other ones.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Okay.
Cool. Thanks. Any more?
I've got one.
All right, Don, let's see it.
And did it come up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually took this back in August of 2021 with my 94 millimeter Brandon and the ASI 294. And it's 3 hours of 3-minute sub exposures of part of the Markian chain with M86 centered
Mm-hmm.
and that. And unfortunately, I didn't identify the other galaxies. There's quite a few in there, but
Yeah, I think you're over the 3. You're okay.
I think we might be here a long time if you
yeah,
list them
yeah,
all out. That's all.
yeah. So yeah, I'm wondering if it's interesting. I'm having trouble with color. There's something wrong with my monitor or the software or something or other because things are kind of messed up depending on which program or whatever. This seems to be more yellow
Hmm.
and that, but otherwise, yeah, this was taken up at the Sir Walter Gun Club, and it's Bortle 4.5 at Zenith,
Pretty.
and
Mhm.
yeah, that's it.
Those always come out gold when I process them. So I don't know if that's their real color, but when I processed them in the past, I've always got kind of that gold color you got.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. It's kind of interesting because depending on, I go between different software packages, and it's just like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Because it changes.
Well, different
So
idea of what white balance is for each of them.
yeah,
Well,
yep,
most ellipticals all have mostly yellow stars anyway, right?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
The other thing too is, it's not bad now, but you can actually see on the, I think you can see on the right, there's some bleed through from a previous screen, so that's contributing to it. But anyway, yeah, so it'd probably look better on a, different system. Otherwise, yeah.
Well, I think Steve's
Looks
point
good.
earlier was well taken when he talked about, as people were first using the Hubble palette to define their colors and those kind of things, whatever. I think that it's reasonable to go and look and check out a number of other, existing images to just sort of see
Hmm.
what this gold is about. So I think that's a very reasonable thing to sort of check out.
Am I seeing an M86? There is a little spot there.
Hmm.
And if I blow this up, I mean, I'm not sure if that's,
Is that a background galaxy or is that a part of it? I don't know.
or is that right there, the jet? I don't know.
It's M87. Is that, you mean that's M87?
Oh, okay. This is okay. Never mind.
That doesn't mean there isn't a jet there. It's just
Right.
No, no, no. Okay.
Or and I was thinking sometimes like the brighter supernovas. I've been sort of hunting down some of those over the last few years. Will look a little bit like that. I'm not saying it is. You'd have to compare it to previous images and
Hmm.
see what it looked like. But or it could
Right.
be a galaxy in the background. You never know.
Yeah, that's probably what that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Background. Yeah, yeah, the M87, M86, yeah. Okay.
Great. Thanks,
Yep.
Don.
All right.
So I'd say anybody else, but Johnny, do you have anything to share
No,
tonight?
don't have anything tonight. I'm just getting back in the saddle from Florida here. So don't have anything.
All right. All right. So on to the second half of the meeting. Anybody have any non-galaxy field images that they'd like to share?
yeah, I have some as well if you want.
All right, go for it.
Let's see if I can figure out how to share again here. Let's see. These are mostly very different than galaxies, I would say. Okay. All right. This is from a couple nights ago. Can you see this? The
Mhm.
triplet. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So this is with the S50, and it says an hour and 6 minutes. I think 2 nights ago, something like that. Yeah. And
That's great. That's nice.
Hmm.
so there's that. And this is about 3:30 in the morning, 3 in the morning, something like that.
That was going to be my guess.
Okay. And oops, let's go back. Sorry. And then there's another one these are all like after 3 a.m. This is 108 30-second exposures with the S30. Okay. And then this is the M13. This is 4 hours and 20 minutes with the S50. These are all
Wow, that's that's amazing.
in the equatorial mode. Yeah.
Wow.
I just let it go, and this was an interesting one for processing wise, because when I took the thing right out of the sea star, you didn't see nearly this many stars, and they were kind of mottled and weird looking. But when I stacked it in PixInsight, which is a lot of files with 4 hours and 20 minutes, it came out much sharper, and all the stars were much more defined. This is one of those times when processing in PixInsight was better than taking it right out of the cam or right out of the S50. So
Yeah, you can tell you've using the AI denoise or whatever, because you can see some stars or artifacts turn into little squiggles or whatever.
yeah,
And
yeah, there's that too. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
but
an
it's amazing.
that's an issue I haven't figured out yet. How to deal with that particular thing, just not overdoing it, I guess, something like that. Okay, then that's the obvious Horsehead and uh, I guess it's I don't what is that blue area? I forgot what it's called now. Oh, it's is that NGC 2023? Maybe. I don't know. But that I was just curious to see what I would get when I did that.
A lot of detail in that blue area.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that actually. Yeah. Um, then here's the Eagle Nebula. This is with the Dwarf 3 now. And this is 46 minutes, I guess. Yeah. And then this is with the Dwarf 3 also. Um, this is a while back when I was still experimenting. This is 2 hours worth. And then this is the Sea Star Monkey Head Nebula. This is an hour and 22 minutes. I have a finding that 2 hours is really the minimum for almost anything if you want to do it, really get detail and not a lot of noise and stuff. But there's an awful lot of stars in here and whatnot.
Mm.
But I'm finding 2 hours is kind of the minimum for not getting a lot of noise and artifacts and things like that. And then here's NGC 6604 region. This is with the Sea Star again, S50. And then this is the Antares region. And I'm pleased to get these blue things. These machines do seem to get blue. This is with the S30. Okay. And then this is the Ghost of Jupiter planetary. I don't know if I've shown this one before. I may have. And so I blew that up and did some processing on it. And then let's see. And then this is the obvious Christmas tree cone nebula area here. And with the S30 again in equatorial mode. Again, these are done, very late at night, like 3 in the morning or something like that. Or this one was done. Actually, this was done early evening, I think, before it started to go down, and I got only 54 minutes before it started going into the trees. So again, these kind of things, if you get more than 2 hours, you're probably going to get a better result for any of these scopes, I think, in equatorial mode. And the more hours, as typical, the more hours, the better. So
Hey, Steve, when you go this long on these objects, does the Sea Star have a dew control or something? How do you avoid
yeah,
dew?
yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, it has an anti-dew. Both of them have an anti-dew feature you can turn on. And since I put it on put them on a battery, I don't have to worry about losing internal battery because I'm running it off of a big a Jackery battery.
Oh, okay.
So I can run it first all night long, and I don't have to worry about battery and that kind
The
of thing.
the Dwarf 3 doesn't have one, right? I don't think I've seen a setting for anything like
I
that.
don't think so. No,
All right.
I don't think so. But both the S30 and the S50 have anti-do things in it. I'm finding that the S50 has some kind of a thing that I would really need to do flats to. There's something that's gotten on the inside that's causing me a little bit of a problem. I can get rid of it, but I haven't attempted to do flats with the S50 yet. Maybe I need to do that. But there's something's gotten inside the system and it's causing a little bit of a problem that I have to by hand take out. It's only one place, so it's not a big deal. It's just annoying to have to do the extra processing. So, but
I've been
yeah, go
I've
ahead.
been wondering about flats for like those devices and the
Yeah,
Dwarf 3. It shipped with some, but
yeah, I'm going to have to try to. I think it's possible to do it, and I think I've seen some articles or videos on how to do flats with the S50, but I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know. So, okay, that's
cool.
all I got.
Thanks, Steve. Anybody else?
I got
Got
a
a
couple.
couple.
I
All right, go for it, Don.
all right. Uh, Yeah, this is NGC 4244, and I was taken with my Stellamira 90 millimeter and a 533 MC, and this is 63 3-minute exposure, so it's a little over 3 hours, and yeah, so it's cropped a little bit. It's cropped from 2.2 by 2.2 to 0.85 to 1.2 degrees. And I'll show the second one. And let's see. And this is M94. And this one's a real bear to process because the center of it's really bright. And then there's this unusual, like target faint ring around it. And my processing skills in HDR, MT, or whatever, and using flats. I've tried it in an older version of GIMP, and I ended up with these giant layer files that were over 200 meg, and I couldn't delete them. I couldn't delete them in DOS. They're still on my computer, and you can faintly see that. But this again with the 90 and the same camera. And this represents 7.8 hours of 3-minute exposures. But if you you can see I'm blowing it up.
Oh yeah, it's got a lot of structure.
Yeah, still, yeah. I was careful not to make it too bright, but there's still some structure in there. I was very careful not to introduce any fake artifacts.
Right. You got the central brightness, then you got the ring, sort of the arms, and then there's a further ring out, arms further out like that, and
Yep.
then you've got a haze even further out than that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
there's lots of structure there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you got them all, so I mean that looks cool.
Have you looked this galaxy up to find out what all that is?
no.
Yeah, that might be interesting to find out
Mhm.
what all those structures are like that. That's curious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trying to remember if it's M94 where the spins in different directions, like the core goes one way, then one of the rings spins in a different direction, which triggers some star formation. I think it's M94 that does
Yeah,
that.
this one has something kind of like that.
Yeah.
That outer brighter ring there looks like it's going maybe the other direction than the inner one does.
Yeah, I think that's the one that they spin in different directions.
Yeah,
Huh. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I have to look up N94.
Yeah, this is one where I don't know, I've seen with some ridiculous amounts of exposure time. And I imagine I don't know, with separate filters, with a mono camera and different exposures, you could probably do a nice job with this. But yeah, but otherwise, yeah.
Oh yeah, if you look it up on Wikipedia, there's some pictures there that have incredible structures, and
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that outer area, that less bright outer area, itself has some structure even.
Yeah.
If you look,
I bet you, Steve, you could bring that out because you bring out some stuff in your C Star S50. I mean, I'm sure you could bring out.
I'll take a look at M94. I don't think I've ever done that, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
It's a fun one. I've done it with my C8 back a while ago, but I'm sure Don, you noticed like it's pretty hard to keep that core tamped down while bringing out that outer structure.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Or it's so
I,
bright.
like and GIMP is not the it's not the best, I think, for, well, I don't know. I did when I was doing the layers, it was several years ago on an older version, and
Do you still have the data
um oh, on which?
on this? On the
Oh yeah, I have data on this, yeah.
Yeah, that might be interesting to try to reprocess it in some of the newer tools and see what you can get.
Yeah, I should try that again. It is also, even though and with GIMP, it's just like, oh my God, a cross-eyed. It's just like, I mean, my computer may not have skipped the computing power to run all the layers and do this and do that, and yeah. But I need to try it. Yeah, it's the only way in that. Because I got a problem. I may have more. I guess 7.8 hours, and I'm seeing what you're doing with the S50, and it's just like I think, yeah, there's
A
data.
lot of that has to do with just I have zillions of kinds of software.
Hmm.
I like playing with software, and the things you can do nowadays with the software are remarkable.
Yes, yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, that's
Thanks,
all
Don.
I have.
Jim? No? Okay. But I saw you saying something. All right, I've got a couple I could share real quick. So I almost pulled this one in for um, the Galaxy Challenge, but it would have been cheating. I finished capturing this data in December of 2023. But there's this icy galaxy, but then there's a couple other in the top left and whatnot. But I didn't finish processing it until like a couple weeks ago. Um, it was a beast because I wanted to pull out. So this is just the color data, and I wanted to pull out the faint outer bits. So
Oh
this is with
wow!
the narrowband data.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I think I pushed it like a little too far. It's too saturated. Like I wanted to tamp it down a little bit, like try and blend the color with the narrowband, but
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
it's interesting. It's got like this. Well, keep the overlay. How do I turn the overlay off?
I think I think that's
There. So
yeah.
yeah, the really faint stuff on the outside was a surprise. Like I knew there was this, you know, larger structure outside of the core, but
Yeah.
yeah, that turned out pretty cool.
That is.
What's
Can
the
I?
thing that's there? Is that a galaxy there?
Yeah, this one. Yeah, I turned off the annotations. Some I see. There's
Oh,
another one here, here, and there's probably more. I need
there's
to pull out that script you were showing us,
yeah,
Jim.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That'd be fun.
The SETI Astro script, yeah.
Um, this one's M13 with the dwarf. I cropped it a little bit. I hadn't tried drizzling data with the dwarf before this turned out okay. Zoom in on the stars here. Blur Exterminator, of course, but still, they're nice and tidy. And this is with the Astro filter, so still got some color in stars as well. And then just a couple more playing. I think it might have been late last week. It was recently playing with just as the sun was still setting, capturing Orion Nebula. And this is straight off of the Dwarf 3 in equatorial mode. I hadn't tried that before. The stars are, they're not perfect, but they're pretty good. This is 1 minute subs. And then I tried Rosette. This is about an hour of 1 minute subs, and you can see a lot of the noise from the sensor. So this is again straight off the Dwarf, but pretty promising. I need to get the time to stack it and see what it looks like. I've toyed with the idea of trying to get more data and just try multi-night for the giggles, but I'm not there yet. And if we don't have anything else, I think that wraps up the meeting. Let me find out. Oh, I don't know that Chris has posted the next meeting on the calendar yet, but I can pull it up in the schedule here. May's meeting should be on the 15th, so in about 4 weeks. I don't have a topic to share. I don't know yet. So he'll let us know soon. And yeah. Anything else before we wrap?
Nothing
Nope.
here.
No,
All right.
okay,
It's good seeing everyone. Thank you.
yeah,
All right.
take care.
Take care.
All right, bye.